Morning to you. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show. Nice to have you with us, and nice to have our guest with us in studio this morning. He is the Bay County Executive, and we say good morning to Jim Barsha.
Good morning, Art, and thank you again for having me on.
All right, so two topics we always tend to lead off and talk about. We might as well do it again. Animal shelter and health department. What would you like to start with?
Both. We officially cut the ribbon on our new Bay County Health Services department, which was the former Art Van building, some 45,000 square feet on Wilder Road. And it's on the Bay Metro bus route. And now Bay Metro route pulls in front of the health department, and then it's a regular stop. So people who may live on the east side of Bay City can avoid paying a toll to cross the Independence Bridge if that's convenient.
Hop the bus.
Yep, and hop a bus. And the exciting news, too, and the health department is up and running. I was very honored to be able to cut the ribbon with some of our other county officials who worked hard on it on June 25th. And we had a very nice turnout. Over 100 people came out to get a tour and meet some of the staff and learn more about the programs that our health department offers, to the residents of Bay County. And we're also excited to make the announcement, Art, and I know we've referenced it in previous visits on your program, that 40% of the building has been leased by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. And they are paying us a substantial sum for a 20-year lease. It's nothing special in our case because they're paying $25 per square foot. But when you use that formula, which is a standard formula for leasing state office space, it will generate $497,000 per year to the health department for the next 20 years. So
does that mean you can operate that building for free?
Yes, it does. We have
Wow.
We don't even have $100 invested into the project. It is completed. We have new lighting, highlighting the signage on the front of the building, which if you pass by after dark, it looks very nice. And all of the parking lot has been improved. We didn't have to replace the roof. New HVAC system, and all of the office carpet, lights, and all of the office equipment is brand new. So we had no expenses involved in the department.
Boy, is that rare for government or what?
Well, as I mentioned before, we set aside $9 million of federal pandemic disaster relief, the ARPA funding, which has to be all expended by the end of this fiscal year and cannot be carried over into 2027. And so we were delighted that the commission approved the $9 million when I requested it. And then our former Congressman Dan Kildee secured a $2 million community project funding request or appropriation of $2 million. So that gave us $11 million to work with. And we did all of basically the interior work will be paid for with the $7.8 million that remained of the ARP funding.
So, and this is rare in government, as I said. You end up with a building, everything is paid for, no taxpayer dollars are going into the building, and in fact, the county now has a building for the health department that they operate for free because the state's paying the freight.
Yes.
They're leasing.
The water, utilities, and sewer will be more than covered by the $500,000 lease payment per year, or $497,000. But that means for the next 20 years there will be no impact on the county budget. Now, I will have to say, I'll just correct you slightly, the federal government does collect federal taxes, and so it was all 100% federal money that was used.
I understand that.
But zero impact on our county revenue.
No impact on your budget.
Yes.
And in fact, a positive impact on your budget because you now don't have to pay for the facility for the next 20 years, right?
At the current location on Washington Avenue, which was a building that dates back to, if there's baby boomers listening this morning, dates back to the old Federal's department store back in the late 50s and early 60s. That building has needed constant renovation, and it was getting cramped because as the Michigan Supreme Court orders more and more staff at the local level, at the county level, the court has been pressed for space. So the space that the health department formerly occupied will be occupied by expansion of court staff, as well as the prosecutor's office and the clerk's office, which needs to retain records for many, many years, the original records. And particularly with court filings, if someone is in prison, you have to retain the actual records for 17 years. And in some cases longer if a person is incarcerated and there was evidence used against them in their trial. The county and the courts have to maintain all of that paperwork and any evidence. So.
Did the building need rehab work before we put these people in there?
Well, it was in very good shape. It was vacant for about 5 years after the Art Van bankruptcy.
No, I don't mean that building.
Oh.
I mean the other building that the health department's leaving.
Yeah, we've had ongoing maintenance, and our buildings and grounds people have done a remarkable job keeping it up. One of the issues that when it was built, it did not have a very good HVAC system, and so sometimes the temperatures in the winter and the summer, when it was warm or very cold, it was hard to get even distribution of the heating and cooling throughout the building. But it will be serviceable, and all of the space there will be utilized to the fullest extent. So I'm very proud of that project. And then, of course, I'd like to mention that our animal shelter is well under construction. They're, I believe, working on the braces and the roof at this time. And at most of the time now will be interior work. The bricks are going up, and so it might be a little bit behind. We're opening for mid-October, hopefully, or November grand opening and ribbon cutting. But that will be a $9 million state-of-the-art animal services and adoption center. And we're very grateful to the voters of Bay County for approving a 0.3 millage for 6 years, 0.7 millage for 6 years. And so that will be fully paid for. And today we have Michigan State University staff, and I have one progress update on the community center pool at 1 o'clock, and then I'll be going over to the Animal Services building to meet the staff who are here visiting our shelter on a regular basis from Michigan State University School of Veterinary Medicine. Good. And they're helping us guide the policy going forward, reviewing our situation.
Let's circle back to this pool, because it was in the news for a while. So what's happening with it?
Yes, we're ahead of schedule. The pool is being constructed as we speak.
I bet it's not open today.
Oh, I know. We wish. Although I will mention we'll have cooling centers
that
will be open.
I was going to ask about those.
The pool, we hope to have a lot of the exterior work on the actual pool itself done before late fall, and then concentrate on basically the boiler and all of the infrastructure inside the community center itself because of the cold winter months. But we're absolutely certain the pool will open on June 1st of 2027, and we've seen so much excitement from people on social media. Only about 0.5 or 0.6% were negative, and that's to be expected. However, most people are really excited about it, and we expect a very good response. And we're looking forward to lining up lifeguards, because lifeguards are in short supply in these times.
All right, we're going to take a break. Come back. We're talking to Bay County Executive Jim Barsha.
After a
This is a test of the emergency.
All right, we're back with you. Jim Barsha in studio, Bay County Executive, talking about the pool and all that, that's just one of the many recreation things in Bay County. Got a lot going on, don't you?
We do. I'm pleased to say to those who enjoy golfing out at our Great Bay County Golf
Knew
Course,
you were going to get there.
which has come a long way. Our bunker project is completed, so the sand in the bunkers has all been replaced with liners, and that should be helping with the challenge of the golf course for many years to come. It had fallen behind on the schedule because of the cost. It was about $300,000, and fortunately, there was a balance of ARP funding that we could apply to replace those bunkers.
Oh, really?
Because, again, as many people may not realize, the Bay County Golf Course is not subsidized by the county general fund. Basically, the money's spent out there, except in the case of the bunkers. And then we did generate about $115,000 from selling clay for encapsulating the Carnwedock site.
No kidding.
And so we have a huge 32 million gallon pond there, which supplies an endless amount of water for our irrigation, which is done pretty much 7-8 hours every night, 7 days a week on the fairways and the greens. And so it's in much better shape. But I will mention, Art, that plans are underway for our 101st county golf tournament.
101st?
Yes, it's last year we celebrated 100 years, and so applications for the annual county tournament are available at the clubhouse. 144 golfers in the men's tournament have been signed up. Men's tournament is August 1st through the 2nd. Women's senior and super senior is being held August 8th through the 9th. And so, as I mentioned, also the pool is coming along great. The cement bases have been poured last week for the bottom of the pools. The walls are going up for the competition pool and the walls of the leisure infinity pool. And work will continue through the fall. And when they go inside to do the work in the mechanical room, as I mentioned, will be open June 1st. Animal Services, I might as well give you an update on that.
Yeah, go for it.
Is really coming along well. Interior walls are up, including all of the non-load bearing walls. And the joists and deck for the roof are going on as we speak. And plans, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we hope to be open by mid-October this fall. And brick is going on the front of the building, and so you'll finally start to see the kind of final product coming together. And also, I'll just mention, at the same site, the Bay County Fairgrounds, and that's an ideal location for our Animal Services and Adoption Center location, because we have wonderful volunteers come in 6 days a week to walk the dogs throughout the fairgrounds, and that gives them sunshine and fresh air and exercise, and settles them down, reduces anxiety, and makes them much more adoptable.
Yeah.
And we're still at about 98% adopt rate, so
Wow.
we don't put down any healthy animals at all.
Was there
No
a dog park there?
Yes, we had to move the dog park to the left to make room for the
New building, but there's still one out
building.
there.
Yes, yeah, we moved the location. It'll be right next to the new center. And, of course, the current Animal Services building, which was actually originally a mosquito control building, it had some deficiencies in terms of HVAC, which caused stress and anxiety, because a lot of the cats and dogs, the continuous barking of the dogs, would cause anxiety and cause kennel cough.
Now, is that building going to go away when this is all
That'll
done?
probably be used for storage. Obviously, if we would have renovated that, we would have had to figure out where to house the animals and all of the operation for the animal control. However, renovation versus new would have been the same cost. We had a feasibility study done, and to do what the voters approved us to do would have been basically a wash financially. So we might as well
Build a new
have a
one
new
with whatever
facility
you
that
need,
will last Bay County for 10, 20, 30 years.
So you're not going to
20,
tear
30
down
years.
the old one, though. You're going to use it for something.
Yeah, it won't be torn down. It'll be used most likely again for storage or as a additional to hold additional animals or different uses. Also, at that site, our Bay County Fair will start August 4th through the 8th. And the midway and car races and other grandstand events will be occurring again this year and drawing a pretty sizable crowd of people out to enjoy a county fair. There will be exotic animals and youth livestock. They have a lot of students that come in and raise animals through and then auction them off. And a few years ago, Vaughn Begic, the chairman, I kind of laughed because he paid $300 for a chicken. But I didn't have
chicken.
But I didn't have too much to laugh about because I bid $200 on the same chicken, and of course we donated them back. So, but it was a good fundraiser for Future Farmers of America and the MSU Cooperative Extension Service that oversees that. And then also, given the heat today out there, our cooling centers are open in Bay County: the Civic Arena, the Community Center. And, of course, the community center with the ice, that's very cool in there. That's
I'll be
air
up there on
conditioned.
the 30th for the Bay County Library book sale they do in there.
Yes, they have. We hosted a number of
Huge.
events. Yes, and have had a variety of exhibitions there when it wasn't needed for the skating. But also, all 4 library branches will be open today, as well as all of our congregate meal sites through our Department on Aging.
Yeah.
And one last thing to mention is our Pinconning Park is a great place to access the bay. We have the Scenic Point access site that we've talked about before that Bay County collaborated to raise money to improve the site at the end of Linwood Road. And Pinconning Park is something we're very proud of. It's got beautiful, clean, sandy beach, clean water, not a lot of algae and no, debris on the beach or in the water. And it's $4 a car for a pass into the park, and that's as many occupants as you can fit into a car. So
We'll have to take a break after all that, folks. We'll be back with Bay County Executive Jim Barsha after these notes.
Hi, I'm Katie.
And we're back with you in studio, Bay County Executive Jim Barsha. So, Jim, Bay City gets a new city manager.
yes,
Dana finally retiring out. They extended her another month so they can have some overlap with
for the
new-
transition.
You know the new person coming in. Who is he and what's he like?
I do know Rick Heyman very well. He worked on my team when I was in Congress for several years, spent time both in the district and in the Washington, D.C. office. And what I can say about Rick is he's very dependable, and he is also very good at communicating, whether written or verbal skills. He has them both. He's an excellent communicator. As far
Well, good
as-
when you see him telling the shows here.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure he would love to join you, Art. I know he's very familiar with you, and I do want to say one thing. I did not contact anyone in the city regarding his interviews or his selection as city manager. I stayed hands off, and when he indicated when I bumped into him that he was seeking it, and I saw it in on the M Live coverage as they were selecting a new manager to succeed Dana Muscat. I said, "Oh, there's a lot of challenges in the city. You're sure you want this job?" But he thought it would really be a challenge, and
Well,
he
you're right
has-
about that.
he has experience at both federal level, state level, where he worked in Lansing with the Michigan legislature in several roles, and then also served as 12 years as the chief of staff to a strong mayor in the city of Burton in Genesee County. So, in effect, he has quite a bit of experience in terms of overseeing administrative duties of a municipality.
And I'm sure that's one of the reasons they hired him.
It must have been. There were a pretty good cross-section of people that applied, and then I think 4 of them were recommended by a personnel firm that the city had retained. And so I've told him, be a good listener, and he's been a lifelong Bay County resident. So that is
that's a big
also,
help,
I
too.
think, an attribute for him.
So let me ask this. You're the county executive, and the city has its own form of government and a city manager and mayor. What responsibility does the county have with the city?
Well, we overlap in certain areas, such as we support each other on grant applications for federal and state revenue. I frequently write letters on behalf of the city of Bay City, and likewise in some of our projects, the city has lent their support. However, they're an independent branch. As you know, Art, as the county executive, I oversee 13 departments: the courts, the law enforcement center, the health department, central dispatch, on and on, animal services, 13 various departments.
And some of those have jurisdiction over the city, like courts and so forth.
Oh, well, they would, but the city doesn't fund any of it.
Right.
The courts are funded 50% with state revenue and 50% county revenue. But, we try to work together when we can, and we may not always agree on the proper path forward on certain issues. However, most of the time we try to reach out. And I know that Rick has indicated that he would like to come and introduce himself to the Board of Commissioners and at least explore ways that we can work a little closer together in the future.
Positive thing.
Yeah. So I wish him well, and, I think he'll do, I know he's a hard worker, and he'll try his best.
Well, then let's hope so for the city's sake, obviously.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
you're right, there's challenges,
Mm-hmm.
not the least of which is the bridges.
Oh, boy.
It's just a sad commentary because of the length of it. You have to wonder if they couldn't get some smart lawyers to start picking apart that contract somehow.
Well, you know what?
Of course, they got smart lawyers on their side, too. So.
Yeah, I've reviewed it myself, and it looks like it's pretty locked in. However, as I recall the discussion, I appeared before the city commission advising against the tolling of the bridges and instead advocating securing state funding to renovate the bridges. However, and I know there's language in the contract that says the city officials cannot disparage the Bay City Bridge Partners, cannot be negative because it would impede their business and commerce. So
I got
what
news
I
for
would,
them. If they act negative, the rest of us will disparage them.
yeah. The one thing that I has stuck in my mind for a while is that I think they convinced city leadership and the city commission to that the bridges were in such bad shape, Independence, that it would have to be torn down, and a new $85 million span would be built to the right. And then when that was open, then $25 million would be expended to tear down and haul away the debris of the Independence Bridge. What actually happened was a renovation of both bridges, new concrete, new rebar, new curb and gutter, and the installation of the cameras and tolling equipment. So, they didn't quite deliver on what they promised. As you know, the Lafayette Bridge, that's estimated to be about $105 million.
But that's a state project.
That is a state project.
It'd be
So
very nice when it's done.
it will, but it's taking a long time, and we can't wait for that to be open. I will do whatever I can to press our elected officials in Lansing to, as strongly as possible, renovate the Veterans Bridge and not tear it down, because then we'd be back to one free bridge and two toll bridges.
And then the reality is something will have to be done with vets because it's carrying such a load of traffic now because of Lafayette.
Yes, it's bearing much heavier weights with these huge trucks that are all being diverted over the Free Bridge, Vets Bridge, and it increased, I think, in vehicular traffic from high 30 to 40,000 to over 80,000 vehicles per day, and it's caused a lot of frustration with the motorists. We were seeing more accidents, more law enforcement oversight being directed toward the heavy traffic on Thomas and Jenny and across onto the east side of Bay City as well.
Yeah, and that's impacted not only the city but the county because you have to enforce.
Yeah. There's accidents regularly out on even on Euclid on Thomas and Jenny as people look at the long lines of traffic and they see an opening, they'll try to dart through it, and then they don't see another oncoming car, and then you have a collision, and then that backs up traffic even more, and no one likes to get in an automobile accident. However, when people get frustrated and they experience a little bit of road rage, that sometimes happens. Or they see an opening, they think they can make it through, and a break in the traffic. So.
Yeah. All right, let's take one more break, and then we'll be back. We are talking to Jim Barsha.
Big news in the race.
And we're back with you. Here in studio with us is Jim Barsha. He is the Bay County Executive. We talk about this every time, but I want to touch on it just for a minute so everybody understands. The bridges, and we've talked about them, are a controversial issue in Bay County, but the county has absolutely nothing to do with any of it.
Yeah, the federal and state gasoline tax, which is 70 cents per gallon at the pump for every motorist who purchases either diesel or regular gasoline at a pump in Michigan, that goes into a fund collected by MDOT that funds bridge and road construction throughout the state. And so 1/3 of under Public Act 51, 1/3 goes to cities, 1/3 goes to MDOT, and 1/3 goes to county road commissions. But
That's
the County
the key.
Road Commission is an independent body. There are no county employees at the Bay County Road Commission. They're funded by basically 100% of their budget. Their operating budget is Public Act 51 revenue. And then they also will seek grants, federal and state grants, for small bridge replacement or new roads or connections.
Can they also issue millage requests?
Now, they can't. However, a township or a city can. So in some parts of rural Bay County, some of our townships, and I think maybe even the township, I can't recall if we have one on my property tax bill. I just can't recall at the moment. But, a township can pass an additional levy at the local level, and the city has as well. Mm-hmm. They had a 30-year, I believe, small millage that was in place on city residents for road improvements, street improvements. So they could add to. However, right, as we had talked about in the past, to do a countywide millage requires the buy-in of the other 3 cities and all 14 townships to agree to use their revenue collected for infrastructure in their township or their jurisdiction to the city for the bridges. And that was a challenge because roads are bad, throughout the state, as we know, and there's a lot of townships that need roads that need upgrading. And so a lot of the township officials were reluctant to tax their township residents for the benefit of the Bay City Bridge, even though, and in Bay City's defense, I think about 40%, or I can't remember the figure, but quite a bit of the traffic crossing Independence Bridge does not reside in Bay County. Used to be a major link from people out on M15 and out in the Thumb area to come in and shop along the Wilder Road corridor at some of the beautiful businesses we have out there.
Yeah, I've said, we talked about it, I've said till I'm blue in the face that the state should have extended M15 all the way to I-75 and had responsibility for that bridge. I know you agreed and you tried when you were in
I did. I was
Congress.
A member of the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, as our current Congresswoman Kristen Rivet is. And I did, as a member of the Surface Transportation Subcommittee, I amended our national transportation bill to include the extension of M15, which comes through the Thumb all the way to the other side of the Thumb. Stops. It just basically stops at Trumbull and Center Avenue in Bay City. And what I did was put it on the national highway system to connect it across the down Trumbull Street, across the Independence Bridge, and then out to I-75, which would have made it part of the national highway system and would have relieved Bay City of a lot of the responsibility of maintaining that Bascule Bridge. And with the amount of sailboats and watercraft and freighters that go through for commerce, it's very hard. And I know a lot of residents said, why didn't they just shut it down, make those freighters pay? However, that is there's a commerce clause in the U.S. Constitution,
Yep.
and these are the Saginaw
Navigable
River
waterways.
is a U.S. navigable water. So
Yeah.
it was a difficult route to go that way.
And it would have cost nothing but signage, right? Because all you do is
Yeah.
put up new signs.
Yes. Now, there would have been probably a little bit of widening on Trumbull, and which eventually did
Maybe.
happen.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, because it was pretty narrow there to
Yeah, it
sustain
is.
that amount
It
of
is.
traffic. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh, too bad. Yeah, I have to blame the U.S. Senate and my old colleague, Senator Spencer Abraham, who, on behalf of Governor Engler, removed the language in the U.S. Senate that I included in the House
Why did they care?
Transportation Bill. Well, you know, Art, it's been not just Governor Engler, but a succession of governors that have resisted it. Throughout my career, I had tried to help Bay City by relieving them of all the
Right.
traffic and the responsibility on Independence. And we were told by numerous officials, look, Bay City has 30,000 people, and you have 2 state bridges. Detroit has 700,000 people, and they have 2 state bridges over the Detroit River. And Bay City is not going to have 4 state bridges. At one time, they wanted the state to take over all 4.
Right.
But even if they just would have taken over Independence or swapped out maybe a Lafayette, convert that to a city bridge and let Independence, which gets much higher volumes of traffic, that would certainly
Yeah,
would have
well.
been preferable. But,
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
yeah.
Jim, as always, great pleasure, my friend.
Well, thank you, Art, for, again, this opportunity to share what's going on in Bay County and what our priorities are. And I want to thank you for the wonderful job you do in disseminating information throughout the Great Lakes Bay region. You have had such a distinguished career, and I've appreciated your friendship and the valuable work you've done since
That's mutual.
first meeting you several decades
That's
ago.
mutual. All right, my friend, we'll talk to you soon. Bay County Executive Jim Barsha, we thank him for joining us here on WSGW. We're heading up to the top of the hour. We'll have news, and then we'll be back with Focus. And on Focus today, we will focus on Roof Max. All of that coming up. The news is next.
Check 1, 2.